Ambassador Venu Rajamony. Thank you so much for joining us from Wassenaar. So just to get a sense of what's really happening in Netherlands in comparison to the world, and especially in Europe, where we've seen different models of the lockdown under the coronavirus.
Well, let me start off by saying that the numbers in the Netherlands of infections stand at around 58,000. Deaths are around 5,800. But the good news is that over the last couple of weeks, the curve has been steadily declining. In fact, all the hospitals across the country are reporting less and less of patients approaching them. The Dutch government had converted all the normal wards into special COVID wards. They're all now being reconverted back. Patients are going back to the hospitals to attend to all the normal cases which had been put off till the crisis is handled. And the health workers are all in good shape. They're now getting back to their normal routines. They're getting to rest. So overall, the picture on the health front is good, though there is significant fear of a second wave. And people are constantly advised to be cautious and to continue to follow precautions. At the same time, the government has started easing the lockdown systematically. They have announced a calendar all the way up to September 1st. With June 1st, a certain amount of relaxations, July 1st, a certain amount of relaxations, and then closer to September, we will know what the situation is post-September. The Dutch always had what they called an intelligent lockdown. So it was never a complete no going out from the houses. People could go out, they could go with members of their family or two people, maximum of three people were permitted at any point of time. And shops and business establishments were encouraged to have their employees work from home. At the same time, if it was impossible that they could function without their employees at the workplace, they were permitted to continue to work, keeping social distancing and taking all other precautions. So in that way, the economy was never completely shut down. The economy had to slow down significantly. The flower industry was very badly hit. The tourism industry was very badly hit. Hospitality industry, hotels, restaurants, travel agents were all very badly hit. But the rest of the economy has been chugging along at a lower pace. And the problem for them has not been absence of production, but absence of markets. For example, one of the biggest companies we have, Tata Steel, had to bring down its production to about 30% of its normal capacity because all the automakers in Germany were shut down and they're no longer off taking steel from them. At the same time, they have a very specialized steel which is used for cans, for canning, for food products. And that saw a rise in production.
Right. So somewhere in the middle in terms of when you look at Sweden or Italy, but just coming to the Operation Vande Bharat, which is in its second phase now, and 26th Tuesday, you're going to see the first lot of Indians coming back home, Ambassador?
Yes, this is a special KLM flight, not an Air India flight, which is being organized to bring people who are stranded in Latin America back to India. So they, as well as for Portugal, no Air India flight has been announced because as part of the Vande Bharat mission. So we are trying to get all of them to converge here in Amsterdam and then take a KLM flight to Mumbai, on which I'm very happy to say that a large number of stranded Indians here in the Netherlands will also have an opportunity to travel. We have a total of about 1,200 people who are registered with us wanting to go back to India, who have been patiently waiting for over 2 months. We have over 50 people whom the embassy has been directly looking after, who were stranded, who lost their jobs for a variety of reasons. They had no resources to look after themselves. So we hope to send some of them back on today's flight. Today there should be more than 100 people from the Netherlands who will travel. And there is one more KLM flight, a similar flight to Delhi on the 31st of May. And then on June 8th, we have an Air India flight coming exclusively for Amsterdam to take people back to Delhi.
As you were saying, a lot of Latin American, Indians from Latin America, I saw Ambassador Manpreet Bora tweeting earlier today about 50, I think, from Mexico City as well. Amsterdam has always been the hub or the center even for transportation pre-COVID
Absolutely.
days.
It is one of the most important hubs, and KLM is an excellent airline. They had a great partnership with Jet Airways, which had really
Mm.
provided wonderful connectivity to India. We had daily flights to Bangalore, to Mumbai, to Delhi from here. But unfortunately, Jet Airways collapsed, and we missed that the kind of connectivity which existed. But KLM had also opened flights to Bangalore, which was
Mm.
a great benefit over and above Delhi and Mumbai. But at this point of time, because of this crisis, KLM is in bad shape. They've had to cancel almost 80%
Mm.
of their flights. And KLM is jointly owned between Air France and KLM. Both the Dutch government and the French government are examining how they can support and subsidize the airlines.
You mentioning June 8th where the Air India flight comes in. 1,200, you said Indians registered there. But there are a lot of Indian origin people in the Netherlands, which many in India won't know unless they have a direct connect there. Probably the second largest after the UK. Is that correct?
Absolutely. In Europe, and now post Brexit, we can say the largest community in the European Union. The large majority, almost 200,000 of them, are people whose ancestors were taken as indentured labor from India, mainly from UP and Bihar, through the port of Calcutta almost 150 years back to work on the plantations in Suriname. And in 1975, when Suriname became independent, there was a wave of Indians they all had Dutch citizenship also. So almost 100,000 Indians came to live in the Netherlands. And in 1980, there was a military coup in Suriname, which prompted another 100,000 people to shift to the Netherlands.
You've been working a lot in this interim period, the two KLM flights that you're mentioning, and then, of course, the Air India flight on the 8th of June with Indians who were stranded there. They're students, they are business people, they are people from across the spectrum, right, Ambassador?
Absolutely, absolutely. We have over 3,500 students here in the Netherlands, and much of their education has shifted online.
Yeah.
So the question which all of them face is why not go back to India, be with their families, and then do the online education? It's expensive to live in the Netherlands. There are also different people who are graduating, and they have a lot of worries about what after graduation. And a number of them, I think, just because of the stress and the mental pressure that a crisis of this nature causes, have been anxious to go back to India. We have tried to create social networks. I personally have been doing a number of video interactions with them, trying to boost their morale and assuring them that the embassy is there to support them. We have mobilized the Indian community to be in touch with them and to interact with them. We have encouraged them to get together. The embassy has been in the forefront of creating something called the Netherlands Indian Students Association, which has brought together all the students. So recently I participated in an online gig, which was organized by 4 universities together, which was a wonderful idea. So we are in close touch with the students, and we are trying to help them and support them. Many of them, normally after graduation, they get a year to work and to look for a job in the Netherlands. But now everyone expects a recession after the crisis.
Yeah.
So they have been requesting for an increase in the period of that search visa so that they can have more time and the economy can have more time to recover. So this is one set of people. We also had, unfortunately, some Indian workers in a company here who were thrown out of their jobs as soon as the crisis happened, and they were stranded without accommodation or resources. And then we had people from various parts of Europe who were tourists, who were honeymooning, some elder senior citizens who had come to visit their family here, all of whom were stranded and could not go back.
But you were
So
talking about
hopefully these 3 flights will ease the situation to some extent. We have also asked for additional flights to different destinations in India. We are waiting for confirmation of that from Delhi. In the meantime, we are closely watching as to when international flights will begin, now that domestic flights have started in India.
Sure. But you mentioning the economy and the fears of that after the impact of COVID-19. What many people would not know is India-Netherlands economic ties are very deep and wide. For example, I mean, FDI would have been what, third, fourth in the last
Yeah.
2 years?
Netherlands is the third largest investor in India with about $3 billion dollars worth of investments. But what is also not very well known is Netherlands is the second most important destination for Indian investments abroad after Singapore. So either way, because of two-way investments, Netherlands is an extremely important country.
So
We
is
have
it seen
used
as a gateway to Europe as well, or is there a market within the Netherlands itself?
No, it is not just a gateway to Europe, but it's a gateway to the world.
Okay.
Netherlands would like to project itself as a gateway to Europe for trade, for
Mhm.
movement of people, because of the excellent connectivity they have through KLM, through Schiphol Airport, through Rotterdam Port, and the excellent telecommunication, digital connectivity that they have. But beyond that, the vast network of double taxation agreements that they have signed with the world, they were one of the original pioneers, brings a lot of benefit to companies who invest through Netherlands. So a large amount of the investments comes to Netherlands, but a lot is also passed through investments. It comes to the Netherlands and then goes on to other countries, and this happens both ways. Other companies from other countries also invest through Netherlands into India, and Indian companies invest through Netherlands to other countries. In general, I have been engaged in a very active outreach to leading CEOs of Dutch companies who have investments in India, Indian companies who have investments here in the Netherlands. We have been trying to understand whether they are facing any supply chain problems, how we can help them. We have been intervening with various authorities in Delhi as well as even in districts and in state governments. So overall, we think while there will definitely be a temporary setback to
Sure.
our economic relations, in the long run, there is great potential for increasing these investments both ways.
Mhm.
For example, health, especially digital health, is an area where we already have the foundation of some collaboration which can be expanded greatly.
Right.
Phillips, which we know very well in India, is today a world leader in healthcare. They are one of the largest manufacturers of ventilators as well as various other equipment. They recently, in the midst of the crisis, announced an increased investment of 40 million in their facilities in Pune to expand their manufacturing facilities. And through the embassy, they have already been in discussions with the government to see if some special status and infrastructure status and facilities can be provided for healthcare manufacturing, for manufacturing of healthcare equipment in India, whereby they can bring more and more manufacturing to India. Not just they, other leading manufacturers can also come converge. So like we have Chennai as a hub for automobile parts manufacturing or automobile
Yeah.
manufacturing, there is great potential for a place like Pune or Maharashtra to become a hub for healthcare
Medical.
equipment manufacturing.
Apart from economics and trade, when the Prime Minister visited India, as in the Netherlands, the Prime Minister visited India, there was a lot of talk about defense cooperation, space, cyber. What really is happening on the ground on that?
Well, on space, there is continuing dialogue between the Indian Space Research Organization as well as the Netherlands Space Organization and the European Space Agency, which
Right.
also has important facilities here. Some of the universities in the Netherlands have very advanced capabilities. For example, Technical University Delft, TU Delft, which is one of the best engineering universities anywhere in the world, has facilities which ISRO has been using to track its satellites and for various and to sort of do joint experiments or to get student-led experiments onto Indian satellites or become a part of Indian satellites. In defense, we don't have much collaboration, but we see great potential because Netherlands is home to a number of niche technologies which
Mhm.
go into larger armament equipment manufacturing. So we have been encouraging our Ministry of Defense, especially the DRDO to come here and look at opportunities here. And you mentioned one more field, defense
Cyber.
space. Cyber. In cyber, Netherlands is truly a world leader in cyber. Once again, because of the outstanding online connectivity they have, all the Atlantic cables which come from North America land in Netherlands. So they have built great potential for cybersecurity through what they call the triple helix model, whereby private sector, government, and universities come together to collaborate. In fact, the city of The Hague, which is the seat of the government where our embassy is located, is the center for cybersecurity in the Netherlands. And we have been able to successfully forge collaborations of this cybersecurity cluster with Karnataka and with Telangana. There are MOUs which have been signed. Recently, Telangana took the leadership of organizing, and the city of The Hague did a collaborative online discussion on cybersecurity. It is our estimate that this is also a very important growth area. I have been in this period interacting with the representatives of all major Indian IT companies here, and we have a very big presence. TCS is the largest in the Netherlands. They have been here for over 25 years, and they employ over 1,000 people. So my feedback is that all IT companies feel that while there will be temporary setbacks, there will be postponement of orders in the immediate. Companies like KLM, which was a major customer, will try and get rid of some of the people who are working on site and prefer them to work out of India to reduce costs. In the long run, there is going to be more opportunities. If you look at the post-COVID world, where is it headed? The post-COVID world is definitely going to force all companies to look at change, how to transform themselves and how to adjust to the new realities. So for this change, Indian IT companies can play a big role. Digitization is going to be increasingly important for every company, irrespective of what business you're in, what you produce, what service you provide. So in digitization, Indian IT companies can play a major role. They already have a wonderful reputation across the world. And thirdly, everybody wants to cut costs. So people are going to see how you can use IT to cut costs. And lastly, cybersecurity. The more you use digital means, the more cybersecurity also you will need. So in all these sectors, there are going to be new opportunities which open up across Europe, across the world, which our companies have the potential to tap. Indians in the Netherlands have been steadily growing in number of people coming out of India who are predominantly come under the category of knowledge migrants. And they have a very good reputation in this country. They are respected for the talent and the commitment to work, the discipline that they bring. And Netherlands has been a very welcoming nation towards Indians. Whoever comes here say they find themselves very comfortable here. Most people speak English, so there is no language barrier. And as a trading nation for centuries, Netherlands has a very open outlook to the world. It has always dealt with and interacted with foreigners. So all this makes Netherlands a wonderful place for Indians to come and settle in, and for IT companies to expand their operations and target all of Europe. And I see that increasingly happening, just as much as though temporarily students might come less and less. In the long run, I think Netherlands will become more and more important destination for students. The US and UK has become very expensive. Similarly, Australia and Canada. Until now in India, it was not known that Netherlands also offers education in English in their premier universities. Netherlands, in turn, to attract foreign students, has been stepping up the number of courses they provide in English. So I see a lot of Indian students coming here, and when they graduate, ultimately they are also going to contribute to the Dutch economy. Many of them will try to stay back and work, and they will form bridges which will be of benefit to both India and the Netherlands.
You're talking about US and UK vis-a-vis education. It's not just expensive, they've become restrictive as well. But you mentioned the Hague, and we were talking about a gateway to Europe, gateway to the world in terms of trade, cyber, you mentioned again there. The Hague, again, is an important hub for international law, and we've seen how that has happened. And the big stories, of course, coming out of that in terms of India, at least, was the Kulbushan Jadhav case as well.
Well, certainly the Jadhav case caught the headlines and was an extremely important case. And I think India did an outstanding job of winning that case. I was part of the delegation
Yeah,
which was present there. But that is not all. In fact, I think part of
yeah,
the mission of the embassy here has been to also educate people in India about all the international law institutions which exist here, as well as to bring people sort of to bring knowledge about India,
yeah,
its constitution, its robust legal system, the wonderful quality of judges and lawyers that we have here to the world of international law in Hague. I was just speaking to the Vice Chancellor of the O.P. Jindal University, and we were
mhm,
talking about a series of webinars through which we can bring knowledge about India here and take knowledge from here to India. We are very clear that this year, let's say most of 2020, all
mhm,
diplomacy is going to be online effectively. We are not going to have conventional coming and going of
sure.
delegations. And while that poses challenges, it also creates wonderful
Open
opportunity.
opportunities.
Online, you can bring anyone. It would be impossible for me to get the president of the ICJ to travel to India unless there is an important enough reason, depending upon his work commitments here. But maybe if I can get him for a 1 hour interaction,
Yeah,
people in India would have an opportunity which they would not otherwise have. So the International Court of Justice is extremely important. There's a huge lawyers community, but there's also the Permanent Court of Arbitration, which is
mhm,
an institution even older than the International Court of Justice, and where we have a large number of cases in which India is a litigant, very important cases involving large amounts of money. For example, the Vodafone case.
right.
So we have been working closely with the Permanent Court of Arbitration to create, to promote in India the arbitration culture, the facilities and the infrastructure that is required for arbitration. The Indian government has an agreement with the Permanent Court of Arbitration for them to set up a seat in Delhi. So there is great scope to promote arbitration by working closely with the Permanent Court of Arbitration. And another very important organization here is called the Hague Convention on
Mhm,
on private international law, and
right.
these are the people who promote countries to come together and sign agreements which involve all international private civil matters or private matters. For example, adoptions. For example, apostilling of documents. How do you get
Mhm,
documents accepted between countries? So they do. They are very low profile. They do extremely important work, which are of direct benefit to people in every country in the world. So that is third organization. Then we have the Hague Academy, which conducts courses in international law. It is one of the most
mhm,
prestigious schools of international law, and they have a summer course and they have a winter course, and a large number of students from India come here every year to study and to improve their qualifications and knowledge in international law. So certainly, international law Hague sees itself as the city of international law, the seat of international law, and that is also an area where there's great potential for collaboration.
Apart from being the representative of India in the Netherlands, and of course to organizations, international organizations like you were mentioning, you've also promoted a look at India-Netherlands ties through a book of yours, which was released last year, I think, late last year.
Absolutely. Last year, in end of September, I was very honored to have His Majesty King Willem-Alexander of Netherlands and Queen Maxima, who was a very important person in her own right, come to the prestigious Rijksmuseum Amsterdam and sort of received the first copy of my book on India and the Netherlands. It is titled India and the Netherlands: Past, Present, and Future. How the book the book is essentially sort of a sweeping view of the history of India and Netherlands, as well as its present in terms of economic relations and people-to-people contacts. And how the idea for the book originated was when I was told I'm coming to Netherlands, I just started looking around for material on the
And
history
you
of
couldn't
India
find
and the
any.
Netherlands. I could hardly find anything. One knew, because I come from Kerala, I knew that, and I come from Cochin, which was a Dutch city for almost 100 years. I knew there were vestiges of Dutch presence, but it is when I started investigating more and more that I discovered how there were fascinating personalities who have connected us. There were interesting people who came from India to the Netherlands, people who came from the Netherlands to India. They wrote wonderful books. The first book on Hindustani grammar was written by a Dutch person. The Lord's Prayer was translated from Tamil into Latin by a Dutch preacher. So there are many. In Kerala, everybody is familiar with somebody called Delanoy, who was a general of the Maharaja of Travancore and who helped modernize his army. But it is little known that this man lived in Kerala for 37 years. His son also joined the army of the Maharaja. And on the borders of Kerala and Tamil Nadu, there is a church in which the body of him, his wife, and his child and his son are all buried together. So these are all forgotten monuments. Even today, there are a large number of Dutch records which are available in the state archives in Chennai, as well as the state archives in Ernakulam, which are probably the best source of information on Kerala history of the 16th and 17th century. But unfortunately, because they are in Dutch, we don't have the capabilities in India to translate them and to study them. And the Dutch, after the golden age was over, then they were caught up in Europe and they have not been looking abroad either. And honestly, for us, East India, the days of the Dutch East India Company is so far away that we have forgotten its negative side. While in the Netherlands, there are sections of society who are so progressive here that they see the East India Company as an absolutely bad period in Dutch history. They see it as an institution which fostered slavery. They see it as having gone out and exploited people of other countries and engaged in monopolistic trade arrangements. So even in the Netherlands, the East India Company period has a negative connotation. And the modern day Dutch really doesn't know much about history. His knowledge is that one of Europe. If he knows anything about Asia, it is about Indonesia, which was their main colony till the very end. It is about China and Japan, with whom they have also had long history of trading connections. India has fallen off the radar. And in India, we all know the British history and everything that they did, but we don't know much about the Dutch who came to India and who had a very major presence in India before the British came.
Not knowing too much about history reminds me, you're coming to us from the India House, and I was privileged to visit the Dutch embassy here, the ambassador's residence here, and host an event when the Prime Minister had come, the Dutch Prime Minister. That also has a historical background. India House itself is incredibly beautiful, right?
That's correct. Both are actually featured in my book. The India House is one of the most beautiful properties the government of India has anywhere in the world for its ambassadors. It is an 8-acre estate. The building itself is 105 years old now. It is listed as a monument by the municipality of Wassenaar, and every year we are invited to open out the house to the public on Monuments Day so that people can come and see inside the house, and we do it very happily. This estate was purchased in 1954 by the first ambassador who came from India to the Netherlands after independence. Netherlands was one of the first countries to recognize us in 47. 49, the first ambassador came. He purchased this house. After that, I am the 25th ambassador to live here. And we have a beautiful lotus pond. We have a canal. There is plenty of space for lots of activities. And now, ever since I came here, all our Independence Day and Republic Day, we have had our flag hoisting functions here in the residence. And steadily, starting from about 50 to 100, over 800 people come and participate in this event, which we do as an open house. The Jinnah house, which is where the Dutch ambassador lives in Delhi, used to be the home of Muhammad Ali Jinnah and was the venue for very important discussions held by Jinnah with Mahatma Gandhi, with Nehru, with Congress leaders. So very important moments in history happened in that house. Once it was decided to establish India and Pakistan, Muhammad Ali Jinnah sold the house to a leading Indian businessman. And that businessman was worried that because of its past association with Jinnah, it might be appropriated by the Indian government as enemy property. So he quickly resold it to the Dutch. He first initially leased it and then sold it to the Dutch, and that is how it came to be in the possession of the Dutch government and became the president of the Dutch ambassador.
But I've seen those videos of Ma'am in the gardens, and she loves the gardens there in India. It's absolutely spectacular. Ambassador Venu Rajamony, absolute pleasure talking to you, sir. Do stay safe, and thanks for giving us a perspective from Wassenaar.
Lovely talking to you. Namaste to you and to all your viewers, and stay safe.
Right, and if you do like videos like this, you can get onto our website, stratnewsglobal.com, to see all the latest analysis of world events, videos like this. Of course, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and do follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.